we're burrowing ourselves in the ground, and then later on blooming into this big, beautiful furry. That's right. It's BloomBurrow.
That is the exact context I pulled after hearing your beautiful tale on what this is.
Yep.
It's a brand new plane, though. It's exciting to see. Definitely seems like it is catered more towards the youth, but the art is just amazing.
Yeah. I really do love the art that does come with this. And just the fact that we also have, all of our furry little, woodland creatures. It's cute.
I like it a lot, though. But we're going to head on over to themes and mechanics. And Tom, you were ecstatic about what's going on in this set. So what do we have?
We got ourselves the bats. We got ourselves the birds. We got ourselves the frogs, the ribbits. And we also have ourselves the lizards. Blech. We also have the mice. We also have the otters. We have the raccoons. We have the rats. We have the rabbits and the squirrels. Bang, 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 bang. Don't get me wrong, there's also more. Moles, badgers, hamsters. That's right, Hamtaro's in here too. We also have a possum. Just kidding, Hamtaro's not in here. Don't copyright me. Anyways, besides that, skunks and weasels as well are added into this set. So, a lot of fun stuff here. As far as it goes, it's all your cute little furry animal creatures. So, if you're a furry, this is your set. Anyways, for the first mechanic that we do have, it's offspring. Basically, you can double up on a creature when casting it. It becomes a copy of it, or a 1/1 copy of that creature if you spend the extra additional mana during the cast cost. So, just another way to generate some tokens, right? Going from there, we also have Valiant. It's a tweaked variant of Heroic that works when the creature is targeted by abilities as well, but only the first time each turn. And then you'll see that when we go over some of the cards.
I can read the rest.
Okay, Kyle.
Maybe I wanted a turn, that's why.
Well, take it away.
Forage is a keyword action corresponding to either exiling 3 cards from your graveyard or sacrificing a food. And just listening off of that, I see a lot of food decks. A lot more power creep is coming in with more foods in the last few sets too. So Forage is going to be king, I feel, in this set.
Oh, just getting those, cards in the graveyard. I mean, Forage makes perfect sense with the Shatterfang cards. So they're foraging.
For sure.
For nuts. You got nuts in your graveyard?
I got 2.
I got big nuts in my graveyard.
There you go. We have Expend as the next one. It is a rule term for counting how much mana has been spent to cast spells during the turn. So there's going to be a number, a couple of them we're probably going to go through in the Slayer Nay, but it's just going to have that number. It's going to say 2, 4, 1, 3, and then it's just for how much mana you have spent so far this turn. Then you can use the Expend ability that is going on here anyway.
Pretty funny though, right? I mean, you're just getting benefits for things that are already happening when you have to cast a card. It's like, here's more stuff for you.
Yeah, it was just like a little add-on, kind of just, I don't know. I felt
if anything, it steers people away from having those cast the card without paying its mana cost type thing, right?
True.
And so with that...
So that makes it super casual automatically.
I guess, in a sense.
Mm-hmm. But that's going to be Expend. But then the last one is going to be Gift. It is an extra cost mechanic that grants an extra benefit if you give certain advantages to the opponent, including card draw and blue 1/1 fish tokens. So I think Gift is going to be funny in this set. I think it's going to be a future mechanic that isn't going to just go away either.
It's I think the point is that you let the person draw a card and you get full effects, and honestly, it's necessary to have your opponent draw that card. But, I mean, we'll talk about some of the ways that you can prevent that from happening, or punish them for having to draw a card, right?
Yep.
So, that's our themes and mechanics, and right now we're going into Kyle's Commander.
So my commander is going to be Balin the Haymaker. It is Naya, so red, green, white. It's a legendary rabbit warrior. Comes in as a 4/3. Now, before I get into the card and just read it off, I love it because I feel like it's an even more beefed up version of Jetmir Nexus Garden. It's got the tapping, tapping untapped tokens. This one is even better in my eyes because it says tokens, so you're not restricted to what kind, whether it be food, creature tokens. You get it.
Your Jetmir has a lot of tokens.
There is a lot of capabilities. Like, I feel like I can just rip that out and just put Balin in, and it would function pretty much the same, if not better. Maybe put like an academy manufacturer, but we're getting a little off topic. So its abilities are tap 2 untapped tokens you control, add 1 mana of any color. Then you can tap 3 untapped tokens you control. You get to draw a card. Finally, you can tap 4 untapped tokens you control, put 3 +1/+1 counters on Balin, the Haymaker. It gains trample until end of turn. This is card draw, this is mana, you're getting +1/+1s. You're going to put this in any token generating deck that falls in the Naya colors, but cards that I think are going to be really powerful with this is additional combat phases, so Anzrag, the Quake Mole. And then as well as that, we're going to need to be able to put some untap your permanents at the end of your turn, such as Quest for Renewal, which is whenever a creature you control becomes tapped, you may put a quest counter on Quest for Renewal. As long as there are 4 or more quest counters on Quest for Renewal, untap all creatures you control during each other player's untap step. Virtue of Loyalty does a similar effect. Yeah, exactly. And then finally, the obvious one, Seedborn Muse. That's always going to go into the deck. But those are just going to be for getting some additional combat phases. You're also going to be untapping your creatures. Next, we're going to be needing some token generators. So obvious ones are Parallel Lives, Anointed Procession. Yes, those are more expensive, but we can do like Awaken the Woods, which is creating X/1/1 Green Forest Dryad land creature tokens. You've got Ocelot Pride, which is new. Again, those are expensive cards, but these are going to be great token generators for it. Then finally, I know, again, we're kind of getting into the most expensive stuff, but Dockside Extortionist. Imagine making like 10 to 20 and then having a token doubler on top of that. Then throw in some Mondrax so that it can be an indestructible 4/4 creature by sacrificing some stuff. And then, what are you thinking so far? You liking it?
No, I actually hate this deck. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good. It smacks face. It's tough to play against, though. It's such a pain.
If you don't have anything to stop me in the beginning of ramping up, like, the game's done by turn 5.
It's cool, though. I mean, you have a Naya card that's allowing you to draw cards for having a lot of creatures. Mm-hmm. It's like the Tyrant, the Merfolk card. I mean, being able to tap 3 creatures, draw a card. In this case, it's tapping tokens.
And then the obvious other cards that you want to put is like Secure the Waste, Second Harvest. You'd want to be putting in, Dragon Fodder as well. Just little things to make as many tokens as possible if you're not going to go with either strictly one set style of tokens. But that's me. It's just get them out as fast as possible and wheel your deck, and then use burn cards like War Leader's Call, Impact Tremors. You could also do some destruction through Aura Shards as well. So there's a lot of utility, and there's a lot that you can put in the toolbox, per se, when utilizing this commander. That's why it's my commander. So we're going to head on over to Tom's commander next.
Alrighty, so for my commander, that's right, I have myself a little weasel. He's going to weasel himself through this because he is a damn strong weasel that likes to steal some cards. Anyways, Infamous Cruel Claw. He's going to weasel himself through this. He's a legendary creature, Weasel Mercenary, with Menace 3/3. And whenever the Infamous Cruel Claw deals combat damage to a player, exile cards from the top of my library, or your library, I should say, until you exile a non-land card. You may cast that card by discarding a card rather than paying its mana cost.
Oh my god.
So, couple cool things about this, right? You obviously want your big, bad, mean stuff. 100%. All the time. So, whether it's having Sheldred, right? Having those big, big beefy black creatures in this deck. Rakdos, I know, Showmaker, Showdown, whatever. But anyways, having those big creatures that are in here. So having reanimate cards in a sense, because let's say you exile the top card of your library, you go ahead and you pick up some type of, high cast or high cost reanimation type card. Let's say Breach the Multiverse, right? Now you can also, while casting Breach the Multiverse, discard one of your big creatures that are in your hand, thus being able to cast it for free. Now you'll be able to have that big creature come out on the battlefield. Works with any other type of, reanimate type big cast spell. But going from there, considering that you are going to be needing to deal combat damage, you're going to need a couple things to help, keep dealing that damage. Between having Grim Hireling or like Professional Facebreaker, getting those treasure tokens for dealing damage, or even having a Karlach for having those additional combat steps as well. But another cool thing to also consider is the fact that you have the Madness. But yeah, having Madness in this set is pretty funny because, it allows you to cast those cards as well, being able to possibly double spell or double cast a spell. I mean, a lot of good upside to this. Only downside is that it's killable. So consider having those protection spells, specifically the ones that where it dies, you can bring it back to the battlefield.
All right, we're going to go over to the Fire Faves now.
The Fire Faves.
The Fire of Faves.
All right, Frank Sinatra.
And we're going to start off with my Fire Faves. We're going to get Maha. It's Feathers Night.
Maha. It's Feathers Night. Maha. Yeah. Boom.
Looks like my Fire Faves, Tom, not yours.
Continue.
Thank you. It's an elemental bird. 6/5 when it comes out. It's 3 generic, 2 black. It's got flying and trample. It's got a ward cost as well for discarding a card. And then its ability is amazing. I love it. Creatures your opponents control have a base toughness of 1. I'm thinking crazy Rakdos decks. I'm thinking anything that's going to be a burn. This card is amazing. It's the first one that's ever been printed in the color of black. Nothing else compares to it other than some white spells, and there is a Orzhov spell as well. The first one is going to be Humility. It's an enchantment. Each creature loses all abilities, and it is a 1/1. Then we've got Overwhelming Splendor. This is 6 generic, 2 white. It's an Aura Curse. You're going to enchant a player, so not as good. But creatures enchanted player controls loses all ability and has a base power and toughness of 1. Of 1/1. Enchanted player can't activate abilities that aren't mana abilities or loyalty abilities. Again, same exact. It's got a little bit of its own upside, but it's definitely not as good than Godhead of Awe. It's 5 Orzhov. Spirit Avatar. It is a 4/4.
Wait.
What?
You say Overwhelming Splendor is not as good?
I said it's got other things that make up for it.
That card's way better than Maha.
You think so?
I know so.
Oh, okay. Is there a lot?
It's an Aura Curse, which is harder to remove. And enchanted player can't activate abilities that aren't mana abilities or loyalty abilities.
Yeah, but it's only doing it to 1.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah. I guess to one person.
It's only doing it to 1 person, which is why in my mindset, for the 5 mana, you're getting base power and toughness of 1, or base toughness of 1.
Ups and downs.
There's different reasons to use each card. But those are the cards that I saw that were kind of similar to it. Now the benefits are, when you're turning anything into a base toughness of 1, I'm thinking Blazing Volley. It deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. Immediate board wipe for everybody. Choking Vines. It's an X and a green. It's an instant. Play only when blockers are declared. X target attacking creatures are considered blocked. Choking Vine deals 1 damage to each of those creatures. So you're just board wiping it as well, at least 1 person per se. And then the obvious end of the festivities. It's 1 red, it's a sorcery, it deals 1 damage to each opponent and each creature and planeswalker they control.
You also could add is you could also add Massacre Word.
Massacre Worm.
And it's a battlefield. Each creature gets -2/-2, and then it deals that much damage, or 2 damage to each creature that died.
That's going to be my first fire fave, though. I think it's a put in any type of burn Rakdos deck. You want to just have an easy board wipe, and you're also getting a 7/6 flyer with Trample and Ward. I think it's a great card. It's definitely going in a lot of 99s. Any thoughts?
Pretty good. I like it, just the fact that it's a creature that pretty good stats on it already, including the Ward. Right, flying, trample, 6/5 for 5 mana with ward discard. Like, that by itself already makes it okay. But just the fact that it also has that interaction. Only issue that I do have with it is that it's just base toughness 1, right? So they still have their power. They still have all their abilities. It's not as good as I want it to be. But I think it's actually very fair, and it's not like broken like other cards. It's pretty decent.
Yeah, great input on that. So that's going to be my first one. My next one is going to be Camellia, the Seed Miser. It's 1 generic and Golgari. It's a new, I like to think it's an amped up version of Chatterfang, or you guys can switch back between these two now as the commander. You could say Squirrel Warlock, though, comes in as a 3/3. It's got Menace. Other squirrels you control have Menace. Whenever you sacrifice 1 or more foods, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. Then it's got a secondary ability for tap, 2 generic, and forage. Put a 1/1 counter on each other squirrel you control. And to forage is to exile 3 cards from your graveyard or sacrifice a food token. I don't know about you, man, but I could see this getting out of hand pretty fast, especially if you have both Chatterfang and Camellia out on the field.
Yeah, and then throw in either like certain death trigger cards like Blood Artist and Zulaport.
Well, you've got Peregrine Took. That's an easy must put in, because whenever you create a token, you get to make a food token as well on top of that. It's kind of like Zorn for treasure tokens, but it's for food tokens. And then
It's
also,
exactly that, yeah.
yeah, and then it's got the sacrifice 3 foods, you get to draw a card. So if you have, Academy Manufacturer out, you're going to have something that's creating a blood token, a clue token, and a treasure token, or is it food token? Food, treasure, and clue.
Blood.
Not clue?
Clue.
Yeah, whatever. We'll figure that one out.
It's Clue.
Yeah. So you're going to be putting that in. Some of the other cards, especially if you want to get into the squirrel aspect, you can put in Chitter Spitter.
What a funny name.
I know, it's hysterical. But your squirrels get +1/+1 for each acorn counter on it, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, you get to put an acorn counter on Chitter Spitter. I don't want to say that name again.
It's so awesome.
But its other portion I like too is 1 green, tap the artifact, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. And if you have any token doublers on the field, you're making a couple of them each turn,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh yeah.
And Animal Friend is the Fallout edition that I liked a lot, the enchantment aura that you can attach it to the creature, and whenever this creature attacks, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token, put a 1/1 on that creature token for each aura and equipment attached to this creature other than Animal Friend. I liked it a lot just because you're building a lot of squirrels out of it. It's just something easy to get on for 2 mana as well. There's probably better cards out there, but that's what I liked a lot from that. You've also got a couple of the new cards that also came out were Vine Reap Mentor, which I kind of would put in this just because you're creating food tokens, and then when it enters and dies, I don't know, just something easy. It's a 3/2 as well.
It's on theme.
Yeah, for sure. And then Second Harvest, obviously, for doubling it. But that's going to be my reason for loving Camellia. Do you have anything else you wanted to add about her?
I mean, yeah, just replace the Shatterfang in your deck with Camellia, and you pretty much have the deck right there.
Exactly. So my last one that's going to be on my fire faves is Beza, the Bounding Spring. 2 generic, 2 white. It's an elemental elk, comes in as a 4/5. Now, I like this because when I read the text originally, the first thing I thought of is any type of Blink deck is going to love this card. And what it says is when it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token if an opponent controls more lands than you. You gain 4 life if an opponent has more life than you. Create 2 1/1 blue fish creature tokens if an opponent controls more creatures than you, and draw a card if an opponent has more cards in hand than you. In a pod, you're playing this in like a Orion deck, where you're just constantly blinking it. Like that's what, or
You're probably gonna get all 3 effects popping off all the time.
Absolutely. This is an automatic in the 99. I wouldn't make this a commander. Yeah, but Yorion, the Sky Nomad, as well as that, I see like Mist Metal Witch happening, Hallowed Respite. This is going into any type
Copy
of blink.
cards as well.
Exactly.
Copy it. Well, I was thinking more like Spark Double, but yeah.
Spark
Ooh,
Double,
I like these cards.
Yeah, you could put in Soul Herder, you could put in Displacer Kitten. Whenever you're casting a non-creature spell, which you will be, you're going to be playing an Ephemerate for sure, or at least cards like that or counter spells for protection.
Ephemerate, Cloud Shift.
Now,
Link decks are annoying to play against.
Yeah, I have no desire to make one because I see like just everybody else's faces, including mine. Just
1,000 triggers.
yeah.
1,000 triggers. Oh, I'm going to destroy your creature. No, I blink it. 1,000 more triggers.
Yeah. Sounds like a Tom deck for sure.
Yeah. That's even more sweatier. I don't know. Who am I kidding?
You just made a Kryko deck.
I know.
Like that could be CDH if you really wanted it to be.
It's not CDH.
It's not.
No, it's not.
Not yet.
But I'll tell you what. I did beat a dude that had a whole crap ton of cards where probably easily equal to $1,000 to $2,000 plus. Just like all the cards that are broken in a Brea deck.
Good times though, good times. So those are going to be my fire faves. Tell me what I missed. Tell me why the color schemes that I choose are always the same. I get it. It's just my style of play. Tom, we're here to work. So I can go back to playing Once Human. All right, Tom, it is your fire faves.
Fire!
Why don't you tell these people why they're fire?
Because they're furries. No. Anyways, for the first one, it's not a furry. It's actually a reptile. Rottenmouth Viper. 5 generic, 1 swamp. Creature, elemental sake that comes in for as a 6/6. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you may sacrifice any number of non-land permanents. This spell costs 1 less for each permanent sacrifice this way. So all those tokens, maybe, you can sacrifice those, right? And anyways, whenever Rottenmouth Viper enters or attacks, put a blade counter on it. Then for each blade counter, each opponent loses 4 life unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card. This card's sick, man. Sick. It can possibly come out as a 1/1 or come out with one mana cost for a 6/6. You're doing something to each opponent that is either making them lose life, sacrifice something, or discarding something. That's sick.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, next one.
Good talk.
Vren the Relentless. Right. Dimir, 2 generic, legendary creature, rat rogue. Has Ward 2, comes out as a 3/4. If a creature an opponent controls will die, exile it instead. And then at the beginning of each end step, create X/1/1 black rat creature tokens. With this creature, gets +1/+1 for each other rat you control, where X is the number creatures your opponents controlled that were exiled this turn. Yo, that's funny. That's pretty cool.
No.
Yeah, like
No.
Well,
rats are bad, okay?
This is good. Because this is, you don't even have to play rats in this deck. You could just play control in this deck this whole time and just have this as your creature. 1, it comes out, it has Ward 2, so it's already hard to kill. 2, anything that your opponents control as far as creatures go, they're going to get exiled instead. So any of those death triggers, stupid shit that you deal with, yeah, screw you. That ain't happening anymore. They're just getting exiled. And then at the beginning of your end step, you're going to create any creature that got exiled, you're going to create a rat creature token, and it's going to get +1/+1 for each other rat you control. Wow.
I don't like it.
I think that's cool.
It's a great card. No, it is a phenomenal card. I hate playing against rats. Like rat decks.
And then you can just throw in all the key rat cards that you would want to throw in there. And if you're really bored, just have a butt ton of rat colonies. But if you ask me, I think rat colonies are not the way to play this deck. I think the way to play this deck is control. Control colony. Yep. Alright. But yeah, that's Ren, the rat god. Anyways, Glarb. Calamities. Augur. It's a soul tie. Legendary creature, frog, wizard, noble. Look at this guy. Chilling. Big Glarbin. Glarbin big.
He looks like you.
He's
right
living
now.
Glarb.
You're Glarbin right now.
Living
You look
Glarb.
literally the same as him. Almost the same exact position. Yeah, he's got his leg up and everything too, like Glarb.
So, anyways, it's a 2/4 Death Touch, and you may look at the library at the top card of your library anytime, and then you may play lands and or cast spells with mana value 4 or greater from the top of your library, and then you can tap it, Surveil too. I mean, shoot, this is your Augur of Autumn. This is your reality chip in a sense for mana value 4 or greater. Pair this with a Tomi. The one creature that lets you, cascade for things that are mana value 5 or greater, right? Add a Beanstalk to this as well. With Beanstalk, whenever you cast something 5 or greater. I mean, don't get me wrong, it says 4 or greater, but now you can have this card pair up with those cards, right? And they follow the same color schemes. A lot of good things that just work with this. And then just the fact that you're in Soul Tie, you're going to be playing with your graveyard as well. So you have that surveilled mechanic. So, yeah. Overall, I think this is a really solid card.
Yeah, it's a great card. You told me if I didn't pick it, you were going to pick it, and you ran with it. I think it's a great graveyard recursion deck. Big stompy things.
Yeah, you can make it big stompy things. You can make it a Thoracle win. A lot of different things. You just want to be running through your deck as much as possible, and this kind of helps you do that. Exactly. And then for my last one, this is actually coming out of a Commander precon. Didn't want to exclude any of the precons in this as well, but basically Bellow, Bard of the Brambles. My buddy Peter actually showed me this deck. He's going to be building it, and I actually really love the idea and the mechanics behind it. It's a legendary creature, Raccoon Bard, comes casting cost is 1 generic Gruul. It's a 3/3, and then during your turn, each non-equipment, artifact, and non-aura enchantment you control with mana value 4 or greater is a 4/4 elemental creature, in addition to its types, and has indestructible haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So this is turning your 4 mana value or greater enchantments and artifacts into 4/4 hasty boy indestructibles that let you draw a card when you deal damage. That's fun. And you can ramp fast with Gruul. Put out some nasty enchantments that are going to, who knows, maybe buff up your creatures as well. I'm thinking there's a 5 mana one, Zelnagos, I believe it's called. The one that's the enchantment god creature, not the 3 mana version, but there's a 5 mana version where it acts like a Alana Elena. And with that card, you're already going to be able to have it come as a 4/4, smack face and make you draw more. Pretty good. And then you just want to try to break it. So that way you're going fast.
Super fast.
Yeah, but Bellow, Bard, Brambles, I think it just has a lot of good utility. Fire fave for me.
Fire fave. We're going over to Slay or Nay.
Closer to me. Closer.
I have to lean back. You can see my oily face. Thank you, Tom.
You're glistening.
What are we doing?
Slay your nays, Kyle. Slay or
Nay.
here we go.
We're gonna start out with red. It's gonna be Sunspine Lynx. 2 generic, 2 red. I chose this, so I didn't want him to bitch at me. It's an elemental cat. It's 5/4 when it comes in. Players can't gain life. It's kind of ironic considering I'm one of the few life gainers in our pods. But It's also got another ability, damage can't be prevented. So all of those protection spells, bye-bye. When it enters, it deals damage to each player equal to the number of non-basic lands that player controls. If you're in a pod, you're not, unless you're playing a mono-colored deck or 2 colors, you're gonna probably have a good bit of non-basic lands. So this is absolute slay. I think it's a great control card in red. Starting to see more and more of these pop up lately. What are your thoughts?
It has a lot of good mechanics on here. I mean, it's a 5/4 cat that just... Actually, you know what? Throw this in your Johnny deck, the new Johnny Capsule deck.
Or Flage.
Oh yeah, Flage too.
Yeah, so
Can't prevent the damage.
Absolute slay.
Just like...
What do we got next?
Hearthborn, Hearthborn, Battler. 1 red, 2 generic, creature, lizard, warlock. Comes out as a 2/3 with haste. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, Hearthborn Battler deals 2 damage to target opponent. I just think this card's pretty cool, pretty funny. And it goes based off of your players that you're playing up against, and chances are they're going to cast their second spell. A lot of people like to get 2 spells in 1 turn. They're going to take 2 damage. Not amazing. It's not great. I don't know. I think it's alright.
This is going in a burn deck.
Burn, baby, burn.
So, slay.
It's a slay for burn.
We got Emberheart Challenger. It's a 1 generic, 1 red. It's a mouse warrior. It's got haste. It comes in as a 2/2. It's got prowess, and it's got valiant. Whenever Emberheart Challenger becomes the target of a spell or ability I control for the first time each turn, exile the top card of my library. Until the end of my turn, you may play that card. I think this is just another way to wheel out your deck a little bit faster if possible. I think it's okay. Not something I would probably use.
I think it's good. Because it has the prowess, haste, 2/2. And so we're hitting the fact that we're looking at some type of spell slinger, but like buff your creatures up type deck where you can just swing out of nowhere and deal an insane amount of damage. We're thinking like Infuriate, right?
I could see this in like a standard deck.
Well, absolutely standard for sure, 100%. Standard, right? But as far as it goes, it acts like a Swiftborn, Monastery Swiftborn. It also acts like the new bird that comes out as a slingshot. Crap, I forget what it's called. Slingshot, whatever. And then, anyways, haste, prowess, you're smacking damage, and then you actually get benefits for targeting your own creatures. So, like Infuriate, we're thinking of the draw target creature gets +X, anger or something. Target creature gets +X, +0, and then with that, you also be able to draw a card for each of those that are in your graveyard.
It's a nay for me.
It's a slay.
What we got next?
Artist Talent, 1 generic, 1 green. We basically got our class cards back, in a sense, where you have to upgrade them. They're not sagas. So whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. And then for 3 mana, you can level it up. Non-creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So we know exactly what type of deck this fits in. Maybe it fits in with that 1 card that we were just talking about with the mice. And then if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent opponent controls, it deals that much damage +2 instead. So there's an Otter Izzet synergy that exists in here. And prowess is huge. And so non-creature spells are important. This deck's meant to create creatures to smash face by casting non-creature spells. So, in a sense, this is not bad. I don't think it's terrible. And the fact is that you get 2 + 3, 5, 7. So 7 mana, it becomes a Torbrand that has a mana ramp and also draw this card.
Yeah. It's a good card. Good toolbox card.
Yeah, it's a slay for me.
Slay. Slay it is. We've got Heartfire Hero up next. 1 red mana. It comes in as a 1/1. It's a mouse soldier. It's got Valiant, and whenever it becomes the target of a spell or ability I control for the first time each turn, put a 1/1 counter on it. And then when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. This is like a mouse version of Jury, and I love it.
Yeah, mouse version of Jury, Cacophony, Spawn or something like that. That's a goblin. Fireblade Charger as
This
well.
is an absolute slay for 1 mana, and if it's going to be in a similar style that you just said before, like an Izzet Spellslinger deck, like you're going to be doing this once every turn. You could be beefing it up 3 to 4 times every cycle.
Think of this. Let's say you're running Fling in the deck now. Wow. Sacrifice it, Fling its power. Face.
Boom. So, Slay, great card. Great card. What do we got next, Tom?
Coruscation, Mage, 1 generic, 1 red, creature, otter, wizard, 2/2, Offspring 2. You have the ability to pay additional 2 mana to copy to create a 1/1 token of it as it comes out on the battlefield. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell this turn, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. Very simple, right? It's just like your Kessig Flame or your your other ones that also do that as well. Gutter Snipe, you know, those type of cards. But at least with this one, you have the ability to make another copy of it for an additional 2 mana, so you can possibly get 2 of them for 4 mana. I think that's pretty solid.
Great card.
Yeah, it's just standard, but has an additional benefit for late game. Deal more damage. I think it's good.
Slay it is.
I'll give it a slay.
Oh, we got one more in the red column. We got Manifold Mouse. 1 generic, 1 red. It's a mouse soldier. It's a 1/2. It's got the Offspring 2 generic. Then it's also got, at the beginning of combat on your turn, target mouse you control gains haste. Gains your choice of double strike or trample until end of turn. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target mouse you control gains your choice of double strike or trample until end of turn.
Where do you see the word haste?
I don't know. It was my dyslexia getting the better of me.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of just made it up on the spot. That's why I reset it.
Gotcha. So,
Good card. It's a good card.
after reviewing all the cards, you like how I just built it up for this last card? Because in a sense, now that we've buffed up all our creatures that are probably mice that we just spoke about, they're now getting double strike or trample until end of turn.
Sounds like you're one step closer to making a mouse deck.
Seems so, seems so. Rats rule. Where did these rats come from? Well, they probably came from mice, so they're probably cool too. Anyways, Kyle's already moved on. But yeah, that's our Slayer Nays for the red.
We're going to go to green.
Green.
Green. We
Green
got
gang.
Keen-Eyed Curator. It is 2 green mana. It's a Raccoon Scout. Comes in as a 3/3. 2 mana for a 3/3. It's not too shabby. As long as there are 4 or more card types among cards exiled with Keen-Eyed Curator, it gets +4/+4 and trample. Now here's the best part about this card, because it doesn't really sound that crazy. But 1 generic, exile target card from a graveyard. This is going to be great. I think it's going to be a good control card for green too at this point, because especially if you're going up a grave recursion decks. I like this a lot. Plus it gets +4/+4 and trample for 2 mana if there are 4 different types of cards among like
Exiled.
Exiled.
Yeah. I mean, here it's 2 mana as a 3/3. That's already crazy.
A lot of power. I'm giving it a slay.
I'll give it a slay.
All right, what's next?
Thorn Vault, Forager, green and generic creature, Squirrel Ranger, coming out as a 2/2, has a tap, add 1 forest for mana, or 1 green mana. Also has the ability to tap, forage, add 2 mana in addition to any colors, right? So you can exile 3 cards from your graveyard or sacrifice a food to gain 2 additional mana. Or you can pay for, tap it, search your library for a squirrel card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Squirrels got a tutor. Tutoring squirrels. Go ahead and tutor that, what's it called?
What?
The one card that pairs up with Rosy Cotton. Scary Oak.
Glad I could give you my input.
Good work. Anyways, yeah, Scurry Oak with Rosy Cotton. Boom. Now you got it. You got the combo. Infinite Squirrels.
We have 34 more cards.
Hell yeah.
We're going to have to roll through these.
Hell yeah.
I think Thorn Vault Forger is a great toolbox card. It's a ramper. You're going and searching for squirrel cards. It's going to be a little bit more limited to the play of Squirrel Tribal, but if you are playing in that realm, this is an absolute must in the 99. Absolute must. So Slay for that. Wouldn't really use this too much otherwise.
Slay.
We've got Lumra, Bellow of the Woods, up next. It's a legendary elemental bear. Bears are back, baby. 4 generic, 2 green. It comes in with Star for power, toughness. It's got vigilance and reach. Its power and toughness is equal to the number of lands you control. Then, when it enters, you may mill 4 cards, then return all lands from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This is going to be a landfall, bear tribal type theme. If you're not doing anything with that, either of those, I wouldn't use this. So Slay for those, nay for everything else.
Yeah. Don't forget also the sacrifice land cards are very important in here.
Yeah, all fetches.
Yep, all the fetches that you want, right? Because this way you'll be able to bring them all back.
Agreed. We've got Innkeeper's Talent, 1 generic, 1 green. It's an enchantment. It's another class. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Cool.
That's a Luminarch Aspirant right there.
Yeah. And then for level 2 is going to be 1 green. Permanents you control with counters on them have ward 1. Pretty cool. We're looking at 3 mana so far in total. And then for 4 mana, 3 generic, 1 green, you can turn it to level 3 if you would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player. Put twice that many of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. Oh my.
You can tell this is Kyle's first time reading this card.
This is like you said, Luminarch Aspirant. You're getting protection and you're getting a doubling season. All in one card.
Yeah.
Actually, no. It's more like a branching evolution.
Or hardened scales.
Well, no, because twice that many.
True, it's not an additional counter. It's twice as many counters. So like a Vorinclex.
Corpse Jack Menace is another card that's similar to that, has that ability. But this, I am buying. I am 100% buying this card. Absolute slay. Say no more. We're going to blue. Tom.
All right, Slayer Nay Blue, Season of Weaving, 4 generic, 2 blue, sorcery. We have our season card here, right? Choose up to 5 paw. I guess it's like paw worth, right? It's a new currency we're looking at. Worth of modes. You may choose the same mode more than once, right? So you have 5 total. For 1 paw, you can draw a card. For 2 paws, you can choose an artifact or creature you control and then create a token that's a copy of it. Or for 3 paws, you can return each non-land, non-token permanent to its owner's battlefield. So here's the thing, right? You could have possibly a 5 mana draw 5 card right here, right? You could also have a 5 mana return each non-land, non-token permanent to its owner's hand, and then also draw 2 cards. That's pretty good itself, right? And then besides that, you also have the ability to copy a token as well, return all non-land permanents. I mean, there's so many ways that you could go about this. It's really cool. I think it works out phenomenally. So much versatility behind it. Only issue is cast that sorcery speed costs a lot of mana. So that's it. If you can figure out a way to be able to cast it still by playing around with it, it's a really good card.
Yeah, I think it's a great card for what it can do. I wouldn't play any of these just because there's so much mana. Well, we've got Mockingbird, X generic, 1 blue. It's a bird bard. It's got flying. It comes in as a 1/1. You may have Mockingbird enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield with mana less than or equal to the amount of mana spent to cast Mockingbird. Except it's a bird in addition to its other types, and it has flying. I think this is a spark double. This is
Not a spark double.
no. I'm thinking of
Phyrexian Metamorph.
I'm thinking of the blue creature that comes in twice. Oh my god, that comes in. It's a copy double or something like that. It's Clever Impersonator. Clever Impersonator is a similar card like this.
The big thing is that it gives it flying. That's about it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give it a nay.
I'll give it a nay.
Now we've got Eluge, the Shoreless Sea. One generic. Eluge. All right.
All right.
God. Luge. Get the luge.
No, don't get the luge.
Get out of.
Sam luge.
More luge.
All right. One generic, 3 blue elemental fish that comes in as a star for power toughness. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of islands you control. When it enters or attacks, put a flood counter on target land. It's an island in addition to its other types as long as it has a flood counter on it. The first instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn costs 1 blue or 1 generic less to cast for each land you control with a flood counter on it.
Oh, it was so entertaining just having you struggle through reading that whole thing.
I had to hold in burps.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to keep this
Hashtag
part.
no gag reflex. Call the police.
It's recorded. We have that on tape. You're going to jail, Kyle.
Yeah, so this elemental fish is cool. I like it if you're playing mono decks. Like, other than that, I think it's great because it makes your spells cost less. I think it also is helping you mana fix too, especially if you're running multiple colors with this. But at the end of the day, I probably wouldn't play this spell. I'd probably try and find something a little bit better. What about you, Tom?
I mean, let's think. Let's think about this, right? It's a nay.
There you go. Portent of Calamity. It is X generic, 1 blue. Sorcery. Reveal the top X cards of your library. For each card type, you may exile a card of that type from among them. Put the rest into the graveyard. You may cast a spell from among the exiled cards without paying its mana cost if you exiled 4 or more cards this way. Then put the rest of the exiled cards into your hand. I like this. I like this a lot. You are sifting through your deck and you get to choose between a card as long as you chose that card type.
Card's going super cheap right now. I was looking at it and I was like, is it worth it? Are there better cards than this? Probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't put this in.
But I don't know. I think for a good cheap option, I think it's a sleigh.
Gonna be a nay. Thundertrap Trainer is next. Tom, what is this otter doing?
The Otter's doing things. 1 generic, 1 blue, creature, Otter Wizard, Offspring 4. So for 4 mana, you get to create a copy of 1/1 copy of it. When this creature enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them, put it in your hand, and put the rest of it in your library in random order. The reason why I think this is good is because if you consider this in a Blink deck, this is really awesome. It's super, 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 super good. Anytime it enters, you're looking at the top 4, finding a non-creature. That's basically Narset's part of the Veil. Narset's ability on that Planeswalker that doesn't let opponents draw additional cards.
So, Slay.
Yep.
All right, I'm not reading the next one because I can't read it. So, Wishing Well.
Wishing Well is a 3 generic, 1 blue artifact. You can tap it, put a coin counter on Wishing Well. When you do, you may cast an instant or sorcery card with mana value equal to the number of coin counters on the Wishing Well from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into the graveyard, exile it instead, activate only as a sorcery. We could try really hard to make this card work, but the matter of fact is that it's coming out as a 4/4, and then you only put one coin counter on it, so you only cast a 1 mana thing as you cast this spell. For the next following turns, though, it becomes better, especially if you're running this in the Proliferate deck. However, is it great?
No.
Yeah.
It's
we'll give it a nay.
gotta be specific.
It's a nay.
And I don't even think there's like... Yeah, no.
Yeah, these blue cards suck. Ha!
God damn it. Alright, we're done with blue. We're over to Slayer Nay on the black ones. We got Bone Cash Overseer. It's 1 black mana. It's a Squirrel Warlock. It's a swamp. It's a creature. 1/1. Tap it, pay 1 life, draw a card. Activate only if 3 or more cards left your graveyard this turn, or if you've sacrificed a food this turn.
Sounds like a mechanic in here.
Sounds like squirrels really love their food. They love them nuts.
They love foraging for nuts.
I think it's a good toolbox ability for it because of the fact that you're gonna be wanting to exile. I mean, you're gonna be wanting to just sacrifice it for the food.
Honestly, like if you're running this in the food deck, you should always have this card.
Yeah, tap it, pay 1 life. You're gaining 3 life too. Sometimes
It's a 1 mana every time you're going to draw a card, basically, if you're in that deck.
This is something I would automatically put down as for like ready to put a board wipe when I start seeing this, and then it starts to progressively get worse.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, you get to draw so many cards if you're playing appropriately. That synergizes with foods and graveyard.
Nope. So it's gonna be a Slay for us.
Slay.
What do we got next, Tom?
Season of Loss, the black version, the 3 generic 2 swamp sorcery. Once again, you may pay 5 worth of modes, right? And each mode has a different cost. For 1 paw, each player sacrifices a creature. For 2 paws, draw a card for each creature you control that died this turn. For 3 paws, each opponent is going to lose X life, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Also, a win con that possibly could be for 5 mana. So let's think about this, right? 5 mana, good chance that you can have just everyone sacrificing 5 creatures. That's lots. Or you can also do 3 creatures and then draw a card for each creature that I control that died this way. Boom, that's a draw 3 as well. Very good. Could be more if you're just running a sacrifice deck. And then besides that, each opponent is going to lose X life, where X is the number of creature cards that are in your graveyard. And then also have each person sacrifice 2. Pretty crazy.
I like the card. I don't think it's great. I like it. But I think that it just costs too much. I think there's so much better stuff out there.
Yeah, what's better than this?
5 mana for each player's sacrifices. Well, I mean, first of all, Flare of Mount, like, yes, it's got 3 different spells built into it.
Yeah.
So, I guess you're right. There you go. Happy?
Only thing I could think of that might come close to this is Command of Gix, where you have those different abilities.
Yeah, it's draw, lose life. I'm going to still say nay. I probably wouldn't use this card.
I would use it. It's a slay.
Okay. Valley Rotcaller we have up next. 1 generic, 1 black. It's a Squirrel Warlock. Comes in with Menace, and it's a 1/3 Power Toughness. When it attacks, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of squirrels, bats, lizards, and rats you control. This is a game ender when you go wide. You want to put this at your last possible moment out onto the battlefield when you have, say, I don't know, 20 plus squirrels, bats, lizards, and this isn't even like limited to only like squirrels or rats. This is bats and lizards as well. This is an absolute must in any tribal deck.
Yeah. Well, not just any tribal deck.
Well, obviously limited to the types that are written on it, but
If you ask me, this just goes right in your Shatterfang deck. Yeah, slay.
absolute slay. What do we got next, Tom?
Darkstar, Augur, 2 generic, 1 black, Offspring. For the Offspring, you just play 1 black this time, so you get to copy it for 1 black. Flying at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library, put that card into your hand, you lose life equal to its mana value. I am scared of this card, to be honest.
Isn't this like a Necropotence?
Whoa, no,
No,
stop.
no. What's the... No,
It's more like a...
Bolas the Citadel Thief.
in a sense, but not quite that. If you ask me, it's like the first loyalty ability of Sorin, the Planeswalker, that came out during Crimson Vow. That one's +1 abilities. Reveal the top card of your library. If you put it in your hand, you're going to lose life equal to its mana value.
Absolute slay, then.
What?
So, slay?
It's a nay for me.
So, nay.
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I wouldn't use this, so nay.
Nay, it is.
Yeah. We've got Osteomancer Adept. 1 generic, 1 black. Or 1 swamp. Squirrel Warlock creature. It's a 2/2 Death Touch. Tap it until the end of turn. You may cast creature spells from your graveyard by foraging in addition to paying their other costs. If you cast a spell this way, that creature enters with a finality counter on it. Wow. This card, pretty damn good. It's giving your squirrels recursion. So, absolute slay for the recursion aspect and bringing it in. I would put this in a Chatterfang or Camellia deck 100%.
I love the alternate art on this.
Yeah, you chose the alt arts for both of them, right?
It's funny.
Yeah, and then we have another one that is going... So, slay.
Yeah, it's a slay.
We've got Iridescent Vine Lasher. It's 1 swamp. It's a lizard assassin. It's got Offspring 2. It's also got Landfall. Whenever a land you control enters the battlefield, the creature deals 1 damage to... This creature deals 1 damage to target opponent. Comes in as a 1/2.
You almost want to say slay, don't you?
I almost want to, but because it says target opponent... I'm
Versus
gonna
each
say-
opponent.
Yeah.
It does make a big difference, 100%.
Because you start pinging one person, everybody else is going to want to gang up on you.
Yeah, but the thing that kills me is that the rate on this is too good because it's 1 mana, it's a 1/2 creature, and then it has that landfall ability. So, like, you're going to be dealing a lot of damage with just this creature by itself to at least, specific opponents.
Well, you know what? I will say this. The Offspring 2, if you do pay the 2 extra,
You get 2 of them.
you get 2 of them. So
Yeah.
that makes it a little bit... But you know what? Screw it. It's a 1 mana creature. It's 1 mana or 3 mana for 2 versions of it. I'll give it a slay.
It's a slay.
Give it a slay. All right, we're over to the white now. What do we got as the first one? Ooh, I love this one.
Caretakers, Talon, 2 generic, 1 white. Whenever 1 or more tokens you control enter, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. When this, for 1 more white, you can upgrade it. When this class becomes level 2, create a token that's a copy of target token you control. And then for 4 mana, creature tokens you control get +2/+2. Honestly, it's really good just on the first ability. That does enough. And then you do have the ability to make another target token, and then also, creature tokens you control get +2/+2, so you get that Anthem effect. Pretty solid. That first ability, though, is where it's at.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of having a Tendershoot Dryad out. Or even a Blitter Blossom. And you get at least an extra card draw every turn. Every one of your turns. And if it's the other one where it's each upkeep, create a sapling, like, you're getting a draw step each turn.
Yeah, true. Because you're right. Tender shoot, right?
Yeah.
Every upkeep, and then same thing with. You also have Ophiomancer.
Well,
You just have to sacrifice one of the snakes every turn.
And I guess technically Toxrill could also, because you're making the slug creature tokens.
Good chance you're making them every turn.
Absolutely. So this is 100% slay. I mean, 3 mana, and then it's plus another 4, so 7 mana in total. You get all 3 of these things. I wouldn't even really care for the third one as much.
Yeah, not
I
even
would
the
just-
second one.
Yeah.
I would say the rate for the second one, though, it's just 1 additional mana, copy a target token. So if you have one of those offspring cards or something.
Let's
that's
say you got a
token.
tree folk. Let's say you got an orc army. Now you're doubling them.
Do.
So absolute slay.
Not the orc army, though.
Oh
They don't
yeah,
double.
because it would turn into a 1/1 after, right? It wouldn't copy.
It would become 0. It's a 0/0.
Oh, because it's supposed to be the 1 card. Yeah, makes sense. You can tell I play orcs. We've got Dawn's Truce up next. 1 generic, 1 white. It's an instant. You have to gift a card. Now, I want to see this gift in action. I think it's going to be fun for group hug decks, but you have to promise an opponent a gift as you cast the spell. If you do, they draw a card before its other effects.
You may promise.
Well, yeah, you may.
You got a bunch of lawyers up in here. You always got to watch what you say.
Oh yeah, you and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. If the gift was promised, permanents you control also gain indestructible until end of turn. This is a heroic intervention.
Yeah.
In white, with a couple extra steps, but same exact.
You let one person draw a card. That's it.
Yeah, absolute slay for 2 mana.
It's like,
We've got Warren War Leader. Tom?
I was going to say, let me take this one.
No!
2 generic, 2 white creature, Rabbit Knight. Look at that thing. Offspring 2. Whenever you attack, choose 1. Create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token that's tapped and attacking. Or attacking creatures you control get +1/+1 till end of turn. 4 mana, 4/4. I think this is garbage. It's crappier than an Adeline, and not only that, but it's only giving your creatures +1/+1 until end of turn. It's 4 mana. You're not getting it to attack. You need the attack trigger to happen. It's bleh.
This is like, I feel like it's a knockoff try for Leonin War Leader. But
In a way.
Yeah, like, in a way, it's trying to be that way. I don't know.
Even,
I guess
even that card sucks.
It's really not that good unless you're just using it for token generation. So, nay on that one. What do we got next, Tom?
Starfall, Invocation, 3 generic, 2 white, sorcery, gift a card. So it has the gift a card mechanic, and then destroy all creatures. If the gift was promised, return a creature card, put it into your graveyard, return a creature card put into your graveyard this way to the battlefield under your control. Yeah. This is a board wipe, but you get to save your creature if you let someone draw. That's it. It's a slag for me.
Cool. Slide it is. We've got Whiskervale Forerunner up next. 3 generic, 1 white. It's a mouse bard. It comes in with 3/4 power toughness. It's got Valiant, and so whenever this becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, you get to look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card with mana value 3 or less from among them. You may put it onto the battlefield if it's your turn. If you don't, put it onto the battlefield. Put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I think this is going to be great for those, like for mana curve decks. I would highly use this in. As far as the fact that you can put it onto the battlefield if it's your turn, like there's just so much opportunity. I think this is a great card. What do you got?
You have the ability, so first time each turn, right? Whenever it comes to target of spell or ability control for the first time each turn. Mother of Runes, Skrelv, right? Those are going to be creatures that have abilities where you're going to be trying to protect them. So you're targeting it with an ability. With that, you have the chance to possibly bring out, Skyclave Apparition, or possibly bring out, a Brutal Cathar, where it's going to enter the battlefield, exile target creature opponent controls. I think it has a lot of potential. 4 mana though, that's tough.
Yeah, no. I probably wouldn't use this.
I probably wouldn't use it either.
So nay.
I'll give it a nay.
What do we got for the last one on white?
Salvation Swan, 3 generic, 1 white, creature, bird, cleric, flash, flying, 3/3, comes out as a 3/3. Whenever it enters the battlefield or another bird you control enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target creature you control without flying, return to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. Bird Blink, Blink Bird. Isn't Yorion the Skybird?
I thought he was a dragon.
Bird Serpent.
Bird Serpent.
Haha! Birds!
I guess you're making a Yorion deck around this card.
That's funny, yeah.
There you go. Now you have a reason to put this in a deck.
Now you have a bird.
So no, it's a nay.
Bird. What? It's a sleigh. That card's a sleigh. Yeah. It's flash too, so it's a protection spell. And it makes your creature have flying the next turn.
Yeah, but if you're putting this in a bird deck, most of your creatures are going to have flying.
You might throw a Hullbreaker Horror in there. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm going to say nay on this one for me.
Sleigh
Slay for you.
for the birds.
All right, so I did want to talk about one land, me personally. The rest I don't really care as much for because they are all strictly for the tribal aspect of this set. 3 Tree City. It is a legendary land. When it enters, choose a creature type. Now, tap it, add 1 colorless mana. Then it's also got the tap it, choose a color. Add an amount of mana of that color equal to the number of creatures you control of the chosen type. This is good. This is like doubling your mana, especially for any tribal deck, if not quadrupling it. I'm thinking of like, Growing Rites of Itlamok. Like for 2 mana, you get to now have similar status to that. Or Cabal Coffers. Now you get to make 1 for each swamp that you have. You tap 2 generic and you tap it, or you tap 2 swamps and you tap it. I can't remember which one is which, but that is what makes this so good, is because now you can have this for any of your tribes. Tom?
Yeah, it's like a Nykthos for tribe.
I like it a lot. Absolute slay. If you want to talk about these, you can.
I just wanted to throw in the cycle, not cycle, but for each of the colors, right, they had specific lands that pertain to the tribal of, frog, rabbits, raccoons, squirrels, bats, lizards, rats, squirrels, otters, and basically giving them each a special effect and ability. If you're running those types of cards, right, that have that tribal effect, those are going to be some of the things that you are going to want to add. Besides that, there was a couple other lands that were worth mentioning about. Fountain Port is one of them. It's a tap for a generic, or you can pay 2 mana to sacrifice a token and draw a card, which I think is really good. And then 3 mana to pay 1 life, create a 1/1 blue fish creature token. So the ability to just generate a blocker possibly. And then 4 mana to create a treasure token. So it's also a ramp card in a sense. Yeah, pretty solid.
This card is a land that has so much utility.
Yeah, draw, ramp, create a creature.
This is going to be a $30 card, guaranteed.
That card,
maybe like a 15 to 20.
I can see this being like 10 to 20 bucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's an overall good card.
We got Patchwork Banner going over to our artifacts. It's 3 generic. It enters. When it enters, you choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1, and then you get to also tap it and add 1 mana of any color. I like it because it adds a little bit more spice than paying 3 mana for a mana rock. You're getting to have them all come in with +1/+1. My automatic thought process that I would want this in is in like zombies, squirrels, elves, maybe every other creature that is in the BloomBurrow set, but I do see this expanding further than just the BloomBurrow set. Any thoughts?
I think it's going to be a budget card, not expensive. To me, it's a swag.
Yep. What's the last one that we have for artifacts?
Heirloom Epic, 1 generic. Look at these cute little guys. They're reading stories. Artifact. 4 generic tap. You can draw a card for each mana in the ability's activation cost. You may tap an untapped creature you control rather than pay the mana. Activate only as a sorcery. I think this is really good. I think people are gonna not see this and be like, yeah, think of it. Think about it. Just think about it. You could possibly just draw a crap ton of cards, or draw a card for the 0 mana.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right, so I'm gonna give it a slay. We're up to the multicolor. We got 25 bajillion more cards to go, so probably leave now. We've got Igra. Eater of All. Up 3 generic Golgari. Elemental Cat. It comes in as a 6/6. It's got wards. Sacrifice of food. Other creatures are food artifacts in addition to their other types and have 2 generic tap. Sacrifice is permanent and gain 3 life. Whenever a food is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put 2 1/1 counters on Igra, Eater of All. This is going in your Camellia deck. This is any type of food deck.
Shoot, this is its own deck.
Yeah, this could be its own commander right here. But I think it would be fun between this and Camellia playing together because now you can just start sacrificing all your shit.
Dude, other creatures are foods. That means your opponent's creatures. Oh my god.
You can sacrifice them.
No, their opponents have the ability to sacrifice them. But it's just the fact that like that ward sacrifice of food I think is so funny. Now you're going to be making them try to sacrifice the creatures that they really want to kill this thing. Most of them don't want to do that. Some of them do though, because they are sacrifice decks.
This is a lot of fun. I say slay.
It's a slag.
Yeah, what do we got next?
Gev, Scaled Scorch, Rakdos, legendary creature, Lizard, Mercenary, comes out as 3/2 with ward, pay 2 life. Other creatures you control enter with an additional 1/1 counter on them for each opponent who lost life this turn. And then whenever you cast a Lizard spell, Gev, Scaled Scorch deals 1 damage to target opponent. I love it, 1, because it's only 2 mana, has the ward pay 2 life, and then other creatures that you're going to control are going to enter with a +1/+1 counter for each opponent who lost life this turn. That's already a guaranteed in Rakdos. So buffing up your creatures, and then for Lizard spells, you're going to deal an extra 1 damage. I just love it because the artwork on this guy is so cute.
I think he's crushing it.
He's crushing something.
I mean, I know it's kind of bound to lizard spells, but there's got to be a way to get around it, and then you could just start dealing 1 damage.
I think there's some lizard spells. We'll have to look into it a little more, but you know what?
I give it a slay.
I just want to give it a slay.
I'm gonna see it. I think this is gonna be in a lot of Rakdos decks in the future. Like, if not in CDH decks.
I don't see it being in any Rakdos decks in the future, but I just want to give it a slay, and I want to make it work. I need to think of what type of cards I'd be putting in this. Because I don't know any lizards off the top of my head. I really don't.
Lizard blades.
I guess, yeah, you're right.
You said top of the head. Whatever. I'm giving it a slay.
Yes, now you're saying snakes.
Snacks.
Snakes are not lizards.
We got Mabel, Heir 2, Cragflame, 1 generic, and Boros. Mouse Soldier comes in as a 3/3. Other mice you control get a +1/+1. When it enters, create Cragflame, a legendary colorless equipment artifact token with equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. And its equip cost is 2 generic. I just like that I keep getting the mouse cards. Because, like, I wouldn't touch these with, like, a 10-foot pole.
Why? Because you're from New York?
Yeah, because we ain't about that rat life, all right? They be taking my pizza. It's just Boros. Like, I don't know. I don't like it.
I originally say slay for this one, and don't get me wrong, I definitely in a normal mindset, even the last one, it's an A for me too. So it's an A's for me.
Like, if you want to play casual, like, don't get me wrong. Like, this is gonna be okay to have. This is fun if you're like going for a style, or you know, like there's a specific theme. Like, this could be fun commander. Don't get me wrong. But like, if I'm going to Friday Night Magic or Two-Headed Giant, where there's like tournaments going on and there's rankings, like, I'm not bringing this deck.
Yeah, we're losing.
Yeah, we're losing. So it's gonna be a nay for me.
Nay for losing.
We've got Beauregard Mentor up next. It is Selesnya. Comes in as a star. It's a rabbit soldier. It's got trample, and its power and toughness is equal to the number of creatures you control. This is just another rabbit that keeps getting bigger and bigger with just going wide. Regal Bunnycorn came out in Wilds of Eldraine. It's another one that I think of. There's another one.
This one has trample though.
Yeah, this one is better for sure. Plus, it's green-white. If you're going in a go-wide deck, this would be fun. It's 2 mana for a trample creature.
So is it a slay?
Slay.
It's a slay.
Yeah, what do we got next?
Lunar convocation. How do you say it?
Convocation.
Convocation. Orzhov enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, each opponent loses 1 life. And at the beginning of your end step, if you gained life and lost life this turn, create a 1/1 black creature token with flying.
I love this card.
I think this is aight. Yeah.
Any
It's aight too. Yeah.
any aristocrat
it.
deck,
I like it.
you don't have to do the life gain portion, but the second portion and the pay 2 life draw a card. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, I like it.
Yeah, it's draw in Orzhov. And, like, normally it's the same style too. Considering you have to pay life to do it, there is a catch.
I give it a slay.
I'm putting. Jeez, let me drink some water. Oh my god. Wait, you don't goggle it before?
Someone roast this man right now.
Don't worry, it'll be edited out. So, I'm putting this in a Loro because I'm going to be dealing 1 damage to everyone each turn. This is just another outlet for me to have Veto. This is another outlet for me to have Exquisite Blood and Sanguine Bond. Like, it's just another add-on to my win condition of, like, the moment that someone loses life and I gain life, just creates that infinite cycle. So, this is just an extra layer for a win con in my eyes. So, slay.
It's a slay.
Yeah, we've got Bria Riptide Rogue up next. Can you tell we're keeping up with the colors? 2 generic, and is it? It's an Otter Rogue. It's got prowess. Other creatures you control have prowess. And then whenever you cast a non-creature spell, target creature you control can't be blocked this turn and comes in as a 3/3 power toughness. Yeah, this is fun in a spell slinger deck. So you're going to be beefing up whatever creatures you have, but like, I don't know how many creatures you really have in a spell slinger deck. What are your thoughts? Because you're the one that would be playing this more than me.
I think it's good. I give it a slay. I find it very powerful in the fact that
They can't be blocked.
yeah, no, 100%. Can't be blocked. Other creatures have prowess, so it's not just your own creatures. So that gives you a lot of different ways to build this deck. I mean, and then you have the smashing face mechanic, right?
No.
So there's a lot of different things for this where this makes sense. Go fast.
Agreed. So slay it is. I like this card a lot. Hazel of...
You want me to read it?
Yeah.
So Hazel of the Root Bloom. I don't know. You said you like it a lot.
I
Sounds
liked
you're
it, but
gonna
I
read it.
got no voice.
2 generic Golgari, legendary creature, squirrel, druid. Has the ability to tap, pay 2 life, tap X untapped tokens you control, add X mana in any combination of colors. At the beginning of your end step, create a token that's a copy of a token you control. If that token is a squirrel, instead create 2 tokens that are copies of it. So it has the ability to copy, it has the ability to ramp. I think it's solid. It's a 4 mana 3/5. That's a good rate. I think it's good for the squirrels. Good for the squirrels.
I think it could work for food as well.
And food too.
Yeah, food clues. I think it could have a little bit more versatility, but yeah, it's mainly for squirrels.
Yeah, absolutely.
sure.
No, absolutely. You're right. Any target token.
Yeah, so that's why I liked it more. Otherwise, I feel like I'd have to give it a nay because if they're too niche, you're not going to see it being used much more.
I mean, here's the thing. You're going to be making a lot of tokens. You're going to be making a lot of mana. Or you can have the ability to copy at the beginning of your end step. That's too much stuff going on.
You're going to have so many triggers. This set as a whole, I feel, has just flooded everything as far as token generators And now there's so much more wide array of options to where it's going to be difficult for those token decks to honestly keep optimizing.
I mean, yeah, like where do you stop and start, right?
Like everyone that we've pulled out that's been token focused, like I could see this being power crept for a couple of cards.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's the flavor that you're really paying for here, right?
Facts.
All right.
So we've got Ral, Cackling Wit. So fun fact about this set as well, Planeswalkers got a fun, like an animal reprint of themselves. As
They're
different-
furries now.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but it's 2 generic and is it? It's Ral. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a loyalty counter on Ral, Cackling Wit. Its +1 ability, it comes with 4 loyalty counters, by the way. Its +1 ability, create a 1/1 blue and red otter creature token with prowess. Its -3 is draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards. Then its -10 is draw 3 cards. You get an emblem with instant and sorcery spells you cast have Storm. So that means when it has Storm, it then starts creating copies of it for the amount of spells you've played this turn. So just imagine, a token, not a token, we've been talking about tokens so much, a Storm card being played and then a secondary Storm card, and now that's already up to 4, and then the next one would be up to, no?
Storm's copying. It's not a cast.
Well, wouldn't it copy for the amount of casted spells this turn?
Yeah, it's good for like at the very end just to copy itself. But if you ask me, just having low to the ground non-creature spells that are going to be either buffing up your creatures or at least giving you access to more draw cards. As far as like the stormy effects go, you could. But I also find myself in that battle where it's like, am I here to draw cards or am I here to smash face, right? In this case, you want to smash face, so it's better to have those cards that buff up your creatures instead of the other way around.
Yeah, so Slay.
I give it a Slay, just the fact that it's Ral
4
as
mana.
it's Ral as an otter.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
It's just funny.
Okay, what do we got for the next one, Tom?
Phineas Ace Archer. Look at this guy.
He got an arrow in his mouth.
Yeah,
And
that was
got a pine
Jackrabbit.
cone as the head. Man, I wonder
Yeah.
where that's going.
Looks like a little pine cone bomb that he has going on there. So, Selesnya, legendary creature, rabbit archer, vigilance reach. Whenever Phineas Ace Archer attacks, put a +1/+1 on each other creature you control that's a token or a rabbit. Then if creatures you control have total power 10 or greater, draw a card. I think this is the rate's solid. I think it's fun because you're getting +1/+1 counters on your rabbits and other stuff. And then chances are, if you have like 4 or 5 of them, honestly 3 of them, like including those ones where you get +1/+1 for each creature you control and token you control, those are really good. I mean, Selesnya, it's doing Selesnya things and it has a draw card.
Yeah, it's another toolbox card for the Selesnya +1/+1 go wide theme.
Like, if you were to just have fun with rabbits, like, would you build a Selesnya deck out of this? I mean, I would just to try it out.
I would do the band. And
I wouldn't do it in IRL, though.
I would do Miss, what is it, Bumble something?
Miss Bumblewood?
Yeah,
We'll talk about that in a second.
we are. Yeah, Miss
Bumbleflower.
Bumbleflower. She's OP. All right, but that's going to be the end of Phineas. We've got Stormcatch Mentor up next. It is it?
Is it?
Is it?
Is it?
Otter Wizard. 1/1. Has haste, and it's also got prowess. Then instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Just, I feel like another card that's power creeping above anything else that has the instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less.
Here's the thing. This is better than a Goblin
'cause-
Archaeomancer.
Yeah, because it's got haste and prowess.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. This is just another power creep card.
It's a Slay.
Yeah, for sure. If it's replacing another card because it's just slightly better now, but the same exact thing.
And it's an otter.
And it's an otter. What's next?
The Castrol, the Wind Crested, 3 generic, Azorius, legendary creature, bird scout, 4/5, flying.
Yes.
Whenever one or more birds you control deal combat damage to a player. Choose one. You may put a bird creature card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Put +1/+1 on each bird you control. Draw a card. Yeah, we got birds. I think this card's garbage. It's a nay.
It's an absolute nay.
I don't get me wrong. I think it's hilarious looking. I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. It looks like a cat and a bird put together holding a staff. You see what I'm seeing?
Nope. I don't see that at all.
What do you see? I don't see a bird.
I see a bird holding a staff that has like...
Looks like a sphinx.
Looks like it has a fucking unicorn.
Look at that head.
Looks like it's got like
Head
an
looks
antler
weird.
coming out of its head.
Oh wait, I see the bird now and I see the beak. Yeah, it's a antler for sure. Witty
But-
crested.
It's garbage.
It's an A.
So we got Zinnia, Valley's Voice. It comes in as Jeskai. It's a bird bard. 1/3 is its power toughness. It's not just a bird. It's not just a bard. It's a bird bard.
Look at the sitar on that thing.
Look at that hat. It's got flying.
Too cool for school.
This creature gets +X/+0, where X is the number of other creatures you control with base power 1. Creature spells you cast have offspring. So that means it's offspring 2. Generic, you pay, and then it can create a copy of it. I think that could be funny, but I feel like it's missing green.
I don't know. I'm just thinking stupid shit with this.
I'm just thinking like you can start making doubles of your own creatures.
Yeah, but you want your creatures to have base power 1. So it's like having a bunch of shitty 1/1 cards. That
Oh,
you could
that's right
possibly
up
put
your
on.
fucking alley.
Yeah. Well, no, it's yeah. I mean, it's just stupid. But it's a flying 3/3, so
Well-
it's I don't know. It's or 1/3. It's a flying 1/3. Excuse me. Is this card a sleigh? No, it's pretty trash.
Art is absolutely gorgeous, though. Oh my god, we're on to our last 2 cards, though.
Woo.
Woo! We've got Helga, Skittish Seer, coming in for Bant. It's a frog druid, 1/3. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana 4 or greater, you draw a card, gain 1 life, and put a 1/1 counter on Helga, Skittish Seer. Then you can tap Helga and add X mana of any 1 color, where X is Helga's power. Spend this mana only to cast spells with mana value 4 or greater, or creature spells with X in their mana costs. At first, when I took a glance at it, I was like, fire faves automatically. And then, when I really looked into it a little bit more, I see this in a Hydra style deck, maybe like an X Factor deck, as I like to call it. I don't know what everybody else calls it. But,
Yeah.
like,
X Factor.
it's cool for Hydras or +1/+1 because you can start putting out big stompies.
Hydras for sure. Hydro Crasis for sure. Mother's Goose for sure.
Yeah, because other than that, it's a nay. It's too limited with it. It's got to have X in its cost or
4 or greater.
no, but
Mana value 4 or greater.
oh, true. Yeah, so if you're playing big stompies, that's what I see this as a useful in.
Yeah, it's the True Lane. Well, not True Lane version, but it's the Bant version of the one card we were just looking at, Glarb.
Yeah, I definitely see the similarities.
Yeah, Bant versus the Soul Tide.
I'll give it a slay because it's Bant.
I mean, I'll give it a slay because, I mean, you get to draw a card and you're putting a +1/+1 on it, which gives it more power, thus more mana with the ramp.
Yeah.
It could go off. It could definitely go off. You're in that +1/+1 synergy. You're in great colors. Yeah.
What's the last one, Tom?
Miss Bumbleflower. Gosh, she's cute. Bant, 1 generic. Oh, what do we got here? Cupcakes. Looks like cupcakes, and cookies, all that fun stuff.
I could crush some cookies.
I can crush some cookies. Vigilance. Whenever you cast a creature spell, target opponent.
No, whenever you cast a spell.
Whenever you cast a spell,
Sorry.
target opponent. No. Thanks for correcting me. That was a good catch. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains flying until end of turn. If this is the second time this ability has resolved, you get to draw 2 cards. Cool. I mean, I dig it, right? And guess what? You get to draw cards whenever you cast this, or whenever you cast 2 spells. 2 spells. Yeah, 2 spells. Yeah. So typically what I'm thinking is that you want to be able to cast on other people's turns. It's group huggy in a sense. You also want to make sure that you're getting your +1/+1 counters on target creature, and it's also getting flying until end of turn. That's not bad.
If only I could put a shoulder in the deck.
No, you cannot.
I know. You get to draw a card and lose 2 life. You get to draw a card and lose 2 life.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean, here, you have blue.
This is going to be a wheel deck. Wheel deck all day, every day. This is going to be, I think it has the potential to be a really fast deck.
I don't know if I would put it in wheels. I could see how you could, though. I don't know. I think
I'm giving it a sleigh.
I give it a sleigh because at least you get to make allies on the battlefield with that card. Mm-hmm. And I think that can be very important.
Yeah. But that is going to be the end of our sleigh or nay and the end of our episode. Thank you for watching. BloomBurrow has been a lot to take in, and to think that we already have Duskmorn in like 3 weeks to start looking at.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
More cards.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like the end of August or first week of September is when that comes out. But please like and subscribe if you've made it this far. We value you watching these. It makes us motivated to continue doing this.
You guys are awesome. You guys
gas.
really are awesome. Sticking through this, listening to us. You guys are cool. You guys are real cool. I like you guys.
Stay gaslit, my friends.
Stay gaslit.